So I'm actually trying to, share my screen. Yep. All right, there you go.
Cool. Praveen, just to say hi, welcome to Code Ñuble. We are really happy to have you here. We are with Gustavo. You already know him also. So yeah, Gustavo, you want to say something?
I'm glad that the topic of this talk is really interesting because it's something personal and it's something that is includes all of us because we work at Microsoft, and I think you will enjoy it.
Yeah. Just a small introduction for the people who are watching. Praveen has been working with Microsoft for the past 15 years, and he's currently working as a principal engineer manager in the marketing data and insights team, in which I am also belongs. So I'm glad to work together with you, Praveen. And now with that, I'm giving you now the space for you.
Hey, thank you, Manuel, and thank you, Gustavo and Juan. It's so excited to present something here, and that is something really personal to me. Having spent 15 years in Microsoft, having gone through the transformation and myself, and being part of that cultural transformation of the company, uh, you know, I'm so glad I can share some learnings with you. And it is not that I've mastered everything. I'm still a learner. I'm actually trying to see how I can share some of these learnings with you so that it can help you be yourself, right? And as you're actually pursuing your journey to join some top dream company, or you're building a company, how you can still be yourself, how you can still not change your core, but you still be yourself and be a learner on a daily basis, right? So that's the message. And as Manal mentioned, I'm Praveen Krishnan. I am working as a principal engineering manager in Microsoft, and I work on all the big data systems and creating some meaningful insights for the marketing department. Now I go to the details. The first thing is, my ask to you all is be yourself, right? So bring your authentic self. You don't have to change your core, and at the same time, be proud of your background, be proud of your diversity, be proud of your values that you bring in, right? So the reason why I'm trying to share this one is, as we move from, so like Microsoft is a huge company and it's a huge place and it's a blessing to be part of, right? So when you actually move into some of these organizations, you always try to change your values. You always trying to change yourself, change your inner core, and you try to put a mask and be somebody else, that you are really not, and you're not really comfortable to be, right? So my first ask is, bring your authentic self. You don't have to really change your core. You can bring your yourself as you are, and be proud of your background, right? Be proud of represent your diversity in wherever you are, represent your uniqueness, and be proud of your values, right? uh, and the rest of the conversation that I'm actually taking is slightly into the Microsoft's culture and what that represents, right? So Microsoft's culture is built off few key elements, like what are the Microsoft's values, what is Microsoft's investments into diversity and inclusion, and what do we see that as, why do we focus so much on the diversity and inclusion, and also on growth mindset, right? Growth mindset is so critical in Microsoft that if you really not apply growth mindset on a day-to-day basis, you're probably not really relevant in the company or in the industry anymore, right? So I'm just talking through some of these, and these are available publicly. You can actually look into it from Microsoft website as well. All the information is available, in much more greater granularity. And my ask to, the freshers, from universities who are really trying to pursue a job, and to the early in career or mid career, is that, don't try to change, your core values or core self, and how do you actually flex yourself at the same time to, to this learning culture, right? So Microsoft actually believes in very short and crisp three values, that actually encapsulates everything else that we do here. The first thing is respect, right? Without respect, we are not really, embracing others. And it's a team, and with our mission to empower, every individual and every organization in the world, it's very difficult if you're not actually showing the respect internally and outside, right? What that means is, if you can't respect your teammate, if you can't respect the people whom you work with on a day-to-day basis, you cannot respect, what value they bring in. And you cannot similarly respect, the industry and how the industry is changing. So this is about, recognizing thoughts, feelings, and backgrounds of others, are as important as your own, right? The other key thing is the integrity, right? Integrity is the core in center of everything that we do. Integrity in the business, integrity in the day-to-day work, that actually shows that, we are honest, we are ethical, and we are trustworthy, right? The third one is the accountability. And accountability, the moment you start to show the accountability, there is more responsibilities coming to your plate, right? Accountability is actually accepting the full responsibility of our decisions, actions, and results. And towards that, I would also want to share one more additional, learning that I've had. When you're making decisions, please go with data-driven decisions and see how you can actually include the factual or the feelings. And in some cases, you might have a situation where you have to keep the feelings away and just include the facts. But there might be cases where you might have to include the, feelings and facts and other data points to make some of these decisions. So, just, some learning that I've had on the, when you're talking about the decision and decision making, right? Moving to the next one, Microsoft is, truly invested in diversity and inclusion. There are different cases that you can actually read, online, but also, why is it so critical to whatever we do, right? When we say diversity in thoughts, in people from different backgrounds, different race, the culture, country, skin color, or language, everything, right? So what we are actually really valuing is that diversity, because the different perspectives help us all to achieve more, right? When we're actually talking about a product development, a new product that we are building up, we would like to capture as much different perspectives as we can. And one other thing that you need to also notice, Microsoft is actually a global company, right? And we want to make sure that our workforce, the employees that we have in the, in the team or in the organization, also represents, the same, the same, breadth of the world that we represent and we actually are, representing. So that is on the diversity, and also inclusion. Inclusion is about, not just, talking about inclusion in general terms, but also how do we, take care of these inclusive behaviors. So in Microsoft, we operate on 10 different inclusive behaviors. And again, it is widely available on internet. Please do embrace those and see, how we can actually work on some of these and, be a master in, as much as you can. So inclusive thinking drives our innovation. And also when we say inclusive thinking, it is also about our own thought process, also hearing and listening to what, others have to say. In some cases, you're in a meeting or you're actually in a conversation, and there are probably folks who are actually not really ready to share their thoughts, right? So please solicit, please ask for their inputs as well. When you see, some part of the people are actually not really raising their voice, or they are not really ready to share, right away. It might be that, okay, they have some of the inhibitions, so you need to make sure they're also, making them comfortable to share that, their thoughts is very, very critical. So, diversity and inclusion is so critical because, and we want more people from Latinx to be part of Microsoft's workforce. We want more employees like Manuel and Gustavo, in our teams. I'm actually representing just one part of the culture, but, Microsoft is, super appreciative of everything that everybody brings into a workforce, right? I also have a list of what really matters in Microsoft and what really matters in a tech career and what should not matter in the tech career, right? So I'll actually go through that and delve that a little bit more deeper in the rest of the presentation. And the final thing that I was talking about was the growth mindset, right? So growth mindset is so critical now that you need to actually look into every opportunity and experience and challenge and the change as a way to, way of learning, as a way of engagement, as a way to see what it is in real and how we can actually, add more value, through those learning and experiences. And also, I think it is also very, very critical, especially, during these times where we try to spend some time to hit a pause, go reflect on what did you learn or how did you handle certain situations, and how you can actually represent, this more effectively going forward, right? So I think every opportunity, and I think this particular participating in this Code Ñuble is actually a huge opportunity for me to learn. And I'm also eagerly, see how I can learn from your questions and your topics that we want to discuss in the later half of the, this particular event. One other thing that I also want to share is with great, growth mindset, it is actually a mindset. It's actually a way of thinking, right? The meaning of effort and difficulty are transformed. It changes to opportunities. It changes to, what additional things or value that you can add, right? So it's a huge, culture change. It's a huge mind shift, with, and I'll also want to share how it feels like to have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset in the next two bullets. For people with the fixed mindset, challenges are seen as obstacles that result in people feeling unintelligent or ineffective or incapable, right? Whereas people with the growth mindset, these obstacles are seen as opportunities to reach new heights of achievement, right? So it's a huge shift in, how you see obstacles, challenges, or even changes, as a way to grow and learn than as a way to, feel, oh, you're actually incapable and you're actually skeptical about it, right? Um, I'm moving to the next, the last phase of my speech is about what are the things that really matter, right? The things that really matter, especially during this COVID pandemic phase, is first is your health and your well-being, your both physical well-being and your mental well-being and socio-economic well-being, because also family is well-being, right? If your family is not happy, you're not happy for sure. But first is you need to be happy, you need to be healthy. So please, I am requesting everybody to just focus on that. The key other aspects are the skill set, right? So start to develop, and sharpen your skill set. If you're actually in the technology industry, as you know, technology, is changing every single day. It is actually, moving as in the speed of light, right? So we need to make sure we are actually, learning, as things are changing in the technology stack. The second one is the mindset. I think I touched upon the mindset a little bit earlier, when I was talking about the growth mindset, the culture, the values. So, that's about the mindset, right? And it is so critical that, everything else you can actually learn if you have a positive mindset and growth mindset. The skill set, ability, well-being, passion, curiosity, experience, impact, everything revolves around the mindset, so keeping that positive and keeping that revolved around the growth mindset is so critical. The other thing that you need to focus, and it's really matters, is the abilities. What abilities do you have? And it goes a little bit beyond the skill set, because skill sets is actually specifically about, okay, what are the technical, what have you learned? The abilities goes a little bit farther, and it is actually going to stretch your limits, to how are you actually solving the problems, or how are you going to influence, a larger audience, or how are you going to, you know positively impact the work culture. So there are so many other things that comes in the abilities. The other key thing is passion. The self passion drives, and it goes a long way, than something is being, forced upon you, right? So passion is so critical. Uh, the other key thing is the experience, and the curiosity, right? Curiosity is actually, the curious mind would learn more things on a daily basis. So how do you develop and nurture curiosity, right? So reading probably more books, or also just being naturally curious, and ask these questions: why, what, how, more often probably help you develop that. um, Experience, it's actually the past, but the passion and your skill set and mindset makes it the future, right? So but the experience is critical. What experiences you have had in the past, how did you chase to develop those experiences? Those are super critical. And towards the other side is the impact. What impact did you make from those experiences, and what impact you want to drive from the future experiences? So those are really critical, and these are things that really matter. What does not really matter is your race, the color, the language, gender, disabilities, weakness, or preferences, right? Those really does not matter. And I can actually take one example of Manuel, for example. uh, Manuel, when he joined the team, he was really not, you know, he was very vulnerable. He was actually sharing the fact that, okay, Praveen, English is not my first language. I don't know how to speak English really well. You know, so I was actually giving him comfort that, okay, that is absolutely fine. I can listen, I can patiently listen. So, if you want some of the topics to be, to be written and then share, that is absolutely fine. And he has done a fantastic job to prepare all the one-on-ones or the meetings that we have. And he would actually convert his thoughts, using the translator. He would put that in Spanish, and it would come out in English, right? And he would just read out that, and he would take his own sweet time to answer any of the questions that come his way. Is vulnerable. That is very, very critical, right? Being vulnerable and sharing your inner fears, and probably there is more support that you can expect, and lean into others as well, right? So that's with that, I want to just close my these are my learnings, and I want to make sure I hear your questions and try to provide some clarity by providing some answers. And again, these are purely from my experience. And Manuel, Gustavo, or Juan, you want to?
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, we have a couple of things to talk about. Diversity, and also the different things that can we do in order to overcome all the difficulties that we have in our daily work. And I just want to ask you, anytime that we have something difficult to overcome, it can be a technical thing, it can be like a daily thing, personal thing. I have to do something today. So how is that kind of things in terms of Microsoft? How can we expect to Microsoft be with us in that,
Manuel, can you please repeat the question?
I mean, I'm trying to say is if anytime that we have a difficulty, how can we overcome that?
No, that's a great question.
The way in which we can take that and win to that, right?
That's a great question. So, it's not that you get everything in the first time easily, right? It goes through a lot of hardship. It goes through a lot of internalization. It also goes through a lot of, sharing your vulnerabilities with your team and with the support system that you have built, right? So, it is very, very critical you understand what your vulnerabilities are and what is stopping you from, from that growth, or from applying the growth mindset, right? So it is very, very critical you are first, you're vulnerable yourself, and sharing those vulnerabilities with the broader team, that actually makes it much more easy, because what I've seen is, every human being has positive intent in some way or the other to the folks who are actually vulnerable, right? So, and human tendency by nature, it's like, helping others, right? So, sharing your vulnerabilities and making that part of your, culture is really, really appreciated in Microsoft. And I think it's the same probably in other cultures as well, right?
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Praveen.
Yep. Yeah, talking about the growth mindset and talking about specifically about competition, I think growth mindset is a personal path. Yeah, but how do we handle the competition when I'm competing against, I don't know, other candidates of my job to get in the promotion or to get in the job that I want? So how we handle the competition?
Awesome. So, okay, this is a great one. And I think we learned a lot, in Microsoft, over past, I would say, especially last 7 years, on how to actually, think our focus away from the competitive mind to growth mindset, right? What that actually means is you're actually going to compete with yourself. I'm going to compete with some of my areas for improvement, and how I need to actually show up as a better human being, or as a better technocrat, or as a better engineer. So I need to find out, what those are, and I'm actually competing myself, right? That actually gives you an opportunity to grow. If you're actually focused on others, all you will be, your mind would work is jealousy, or you'll be having all anger on others, or you'll be having all the different type of emotions. Instead, if you're actually looking inside and try to find out, okay, how can you learn something for your growth, and how can you be a better individual for tomorrow, you will immediately start to adapt to that growth mindset, and you start learning, and you will then start to put together that, okay, I need to be better at working with the team. I need to be better at my executive presence, my you know my coding skills, whatever that be, right?
Yeah, I like the word accountability, because accountability has a stronger meaning than in Spanish. In Spanish, we have just a word that can be used in many situations, but accountability is like, I'm responsible for the things I did, and the things that I'm going to deliver, and also I'm responsible for the work of others. So I think accountability in Microsoft, it's really, really remarkable how we are, for example, when we find a bug or something like that, uh, we are responsible for the bug. It's not the person. We are not pointing person. It's
Yes.
your fault. We are responsible, accountable for that particular bug. And that's something awesome about Microsoft, and that should be applied in all the industries, I think so.
Totally, I completely agree, Gustavo. So accountability is so critical, because that will actually, again, you're taking responsibility. That shows your, again, you're going to, that's again probably goes in line to your roles and responsibilities, or even beyond your roles and responsibilities, right? So when you're saying you're accountable, it probably, you're actually not really forcing upon something, but you're actually creating kind of, it's like, in a family, if you're a parent, you're accountable for your kids' future. You're actually accountable for their health, and you do everything that is needed to make them, secure, right? So it is that kind of a approach.
Yeah, totally.
So in terms of my experience, I've been feeling like I'm not. I feel like I'm a little bit different than the rest, So, but as you have your experience, in your experience, how do you think, how much is, or how much diversified is the culture that Microsoft actually has today? And how,
Yeah.
if you have that you should improve, we should improve some areas. And
No, absolutely. While Microsoft has actually worked on diversifying our workforce to a great extent, we still are lacking with representation from especially Latinx, and you know from the Black American. So what we, and also from the women in tech as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here in this space, and we are actually trying to see what best we can do to increase our reach to the Latinx community, to to the Black American community as well as to Asian communities, plus to the broader other underrepresented communities basically. So we have quite a lot to go there, and my strong advice to folks who are listening from the Latinx, from Chile is, feel free to feel confident, right? Probably there is an opportunity for you to represent your culture in Microsoft. There is an opportunity for you to have a positive impact through your work in Microsoft. So it's a huge opportunity out there. And just be yourself, as I mentioned earlier, be your authentic self, and bring your confidence and apply to any of the jobs that you see fit in Microsoft. And, I'm a strong ally of the Latinx community. I see Manuel's, and Gustavo, you guys are a strong voice in those Latinx communities, and let us work together on how we can mentor as many people as we can to fill those positions in Microsoft. Because when we actually hire, we are actually doing more of a it's an inclusive hiring experience. And we have representation from every single communities as much as we can in those interview panels as well. So it's a huge opportunity for both ways, basically, for Microsoft as well as for the Latinx community.
Yeah, in your personal life, have you implemented this growth mindset, for example, with your kids or with your family, with friends?
I think I need to be really honest here, right? I try to, but there are a lot of areas where I need to still get there, right? Because my first reaction when I'm actually with my kids or my families, and it is natural that, okay, you will feel, you will have a different type of emotion than showing your curiosity to understand, hey, why did your marks were low, right? Because then I would actually hear a little bit more than actually saying, hey, I'm going to cut your gadget time, right? To my daughter. Instead, I should be asking, hey, what happened? How can I help, right? So yes and no, because I'm actually trying now to be more conscious about, okay, what are the areas where I need to apply the growth mindset? And as you said, Gustav, it's a personal way of life, right? It's leading your life through that mindset. And it is not that, okay, you would only apply it in the workspace, and outside workplace, you will be, with a fixed mindset. No, it won't work that way. So I think that's a fantastic question that also, really, lands me and grounded. And I definitely, there is a lot of scope for me, both professionally and personally, to apply these. And because every day is a new day, every day there are different types of, challenges and obstacles. And the first reaction might not be that with the growth mindset. So you need to really rethink, you need to really, assess again and again. Yes.
Yeah, I was reading a book from Malcolm Gladwell that mentioned that in order to become an expert with any discipline, you have to spend at least 10,000 hours of practicing that discipline. So do you think in this world, can we get those 10,000 hours to practice whatever we want to learn? How important is to allocate some time for that?
Again, I think nobody, I don't think we are masters in all this, right? But how can be your better version tomorrow, right? How can you apply today than counting, okay, did I reach the 10,000 times, right? I think you need to just count it. Okay, how many times did you do it today, right? Or what are things that you can learn from today, instead of counting. I think I'm actually more inclined towards applying it as much as possible than making it as a counter and keeping it. Yeah, I applied it today, so it's better. And once I hit the 10,000 mark, yeah, everything comes naturally. It doesn't, because the challenges are going to be different on that 10,000th day, as you called out, and so it's still a learning process every single day, every single, probably even every single experience, every single challenge.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And also that leads me to a topic that is people probably is looking at now from Chile and also from other countries in Latin America. And then I've been able to see friends or people, close people that says, no, not really. I'm not gonna fit there. Or I have a lack of knowledge, or I have a lack of English, or I don't know, I have this and this and this. What you want to say to them?
So I think instead of looking into your shortcomings, find out what you're good at, right? And start to develop into those ones, and also start to feel good about and be confident about what you're good at, right? That's really, really critical. You might not be good in some of the Azure web stack, but if you're really good in the big data, feel good about it and start to explore more and get deeper into it, right? And see what other, how can you expand, slowly to what you really like and what you're passionate about. So again, my based on my experience, there are so many things that one should be proud of, because there are so many talents that either you are aware already or you are not aware. So start to work on those first, and slowly, I'm sure you would find that sweet spot where, okay, this is my passion all about, or this is what excites me, this is what I'm good at, right? And feel confident about it, and then just face the world, right? And there are folks who are actually ready to support you any single moment.
That's so true. You're right. Thank you, Praveen.
Yep.
One thing, one personal experience about interviewing, and I think the interview path is like an example of the growth mindset, because sometimes you get selected and sometimes you don't. So but in the meanwhile, while you are expecting the next opportunity, you are growing your knowledge, you are studying more, you are I don't know, you are developing your skills in order to get to the next level, so to the next opportunity. So I think in all the companies, especially Microsoft, we value that if it is not the first time you are applying for a job or an interview, we value that you have the willing to continue trying until you get to the desired job, right? So it's
Okay.
really important to mention for all the Latin American and the people that wants to work at Microsoft, that this path, this growing path, it's since the hiring process. It's not just inside the company, it's from the hiring process.
Yep, absolutely. So there is a lot to learn from every interaction you have, right, with either and you can ask a lot of questions through the hiring process as well. So you're learning much more, and probably you might try it once, you can try twice, thrice. Probably the third time is when you get it, or the second time, or some might get it for the first time itself. So all I think what we need to do is keep trying, keep never give up, and if, chase your dream, right?
I think
Absolutely.
every time that we try, we're a little bit closer.
Yes, exactly.
Like almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you have anything, Gustavo. I'm completely happy to talk with all of you guys, and really, yeah, I'm really happy because this way in which we can share what we are living every day. It's more than the technology things or the products that we are working on. I'm pretty happy to be able to share that I'm working with people that have openness, and they are able to accept my as I am, and understand my every time that I have a mistake. I have a lot of people super happy with that. So yeah, thank you for being here, Praveen.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It was
Thank you
a
for
great
your.
pleasure talking to you all. So thank you as well. Thanks, everyone. And thanks for listening. And also, thank you, Manuel and Gustavo.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Praveen.
Take
Yeah,
care.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. You are welcome in
Thank
Latin
you,
America.
Praveen. Oye, ¿quién me traduce? ¿Quién de
Sorry?
los dos me traduce?
Yeah, I will translate for you. Praveen, you're still there, right?
I'm still here.
Yeah,
¿Está
yeah.
por ahí?
we will
Ah, ya, yo
translate
pensé
for
que se
you.
había ido. Bueno, mi inglés es súper mal, así que mejor que me traduzca alguno de ustedes.
So he said that his English is not so good.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Está bien.
You can learn.
Okay.
It's part of the growth mindset. So try.
Exactly. Yeah.
Inténtalo.
Oye,
So you know what, Juan? My daughter is going to take Spanish in her next grade. So I'm going to have a home teacher on how to speak Spanish.
Tu hija va a
That's
estar
awesome.
estudiando inglés.
Yep. I will have a translator next time.
sí, mejor. Oye, gracias a la persona que nos está escribiendo ahí por el chat, después la borramos, es parte del juego. Praveen, darte las gracias por querer estar acá. Primero que nada, eso. Y una pregunta que estoy interesado. Primero, ¿qué te motivó de estar en esta charla pensando que estamos al fin del mundo? Y la otra, si es perfecto.
Déjame ir traduciendo. He initially wants to say thank you, okay? Now he's asking you what motivates you to participate in this talk, since this is at the very end of the world. And dale, Juan.
Y en realidad, ¿qué te gusta? A ver, nosotros lo que queremos acá es generar una comunidad. Y con lo mismo estamos invitando a empresas para que vengan y nos den charlas. Pero esa comunidad es básicamente mostrar el talento regional.
So we are trying to make a community here in the South America, and we are inviting different companies, to be part of that and know that in that city and that zone region we have talent also.
Yep. Así que
so it's super, I'm super excited to be part of this Code Ñuble, community. So some of the things that I can think of is, if there is a, way we can engage, from Microsoft. I will also see who are the right point of contacts from the Chile subsidiary, and see how we can have more presence in some of these, your activities or the more events that you're going to have, right? So that is one way we can probably represent Microsoft. And also I'm actually really looking into it from how we can have some kind of hiring programs, that we can extend into Chile, right? So there is a lot of opportunities for us to go work closely in this area. And I'm sure we will partner much more deeper going forward.
You need translation, Juan?
Please.
Okay, él dijo que está súper contento de participar en Code Ñuble, y que está viendo la posibilidad de tener los contactos correctos para Microsoft Chile, para que Microsoft Chile pueda también tener presencia en la zona y poder hacer algún otro tipo de evento.
Perfecto, súper. Dile que desde ya queda invitado para que nos siga ayudando en alguna futura conferencia benéfica que podamos hacer. Y gracias nuevamente.
Well, he's extending an invitation because he is preparing the next benefit. Actually, it's a different one. It's like this giving campaign for well, they will share the information later, but the thing is, he wants to invite you to be part of that also. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I once want to physically come and meet you guys as well there in Chile. So hope to meet you all, and gracias for listening to me, and hope there was some learning. If not, let me know. I'll have some learning. Take care, guys, and stay safe.
Take care, Brian.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Gracias, chiquillos.